At the age of 24, Erling Haaland is well on his way to being one of the best goal scorers to ever grace the planet. But even scoring 230 goals in just 262 appearances will still draw you the harshest of critics.
General play for such a player, it is so poor. Not just today, I think he has to improve that.
Positions. That's
who you're taking.
I'm taking Mbappe. Everybody is.
Chris Sutton. No, I'm Team Keane.
I think it's bang average.
I think it's bang average.
So, let's talk about it. Now, before I get stuck into it, I want to make this very, very clear. Nostalgia plays such a big part when it comes to talking about footballers these days. So let me just say, if this guy played in the peak of the Barclays Premier League, he'd be hailed as a god. So, his numbers, they're insane. If you look at his Premier League numbers, 73 goals in 71 games. And if you ask me...
Do the math on that, it's one goal a game.
Oh, they're going to come for me. But on a serious note, his record in the Premier League is actually mental. 8 Premier League hat-tricks in just 69 games is actually frightening. Like, I mean, who does that?
Why not?
If we look at some of the names and the numbers in that category around him... I was a bit unprepared. I need to get the graphic up. He's got the same amount of hat-tricks as Thierry Henry, Harry Kane and Michael Owen in like a third of the games. It's like, that is mental. When you're talking about Harry Kane and Thierry Henry and Michael Owen, you're talking about Premier League greats here. And then obviously above him, you've got Robbie Fowler, Alan Shearer, he's 3 off. Obviously the greatest goal scorer the Premier League's ever seen. And Sergio Aguero playing for the same team. And again, look at the difference in how many games it's took to reach that milestone. It's crazy. And looking at those statistics and how long it took to reach those milestones, it's genuinely frightening when you think about it. Personally, I already think he's just maybe even a season off being a Premier League Hall of Famer already. I mean, he's won 2 Premier Leagues, scored huge amounts of goals in reaching those league titles, and he won a treble in his 2nd season. And I'm sure there'll be people that think he's already in the Premier League Hall of Fame. And to be fair, I wouldn't argue or disagree against it. This doesn't contribute really to his footballing ability, but this guy is genuinely hilarious. At the time of recording this video, Man City have just played Arsenal in a 2-2 draw at the Etihad. And you'll have probably seen what he did when John Stones scored in the 98th minute to get the equaliser, throwing the ball at Gabriel. Although it may be unprofessional and maybe even childish, I think it's so refreshing to see someone that's giving a bit of stick. So many players now are media trained at such a young age that they're almost like robots. And I get it, they have to be a role model and they have to show a positive energy, but I think it's things like this is just great. For me personally, I think giving some out, and he's a guy you'd hate to play against, but you always want on your team, one of them players. And the same goes for Bruno Fernandes. Everyone hates how he's always, winning free kicks for maybe diving. But just going back onto the topic of the Man City Arsenal game, Haaland's goal in the first half was beautiful. What a unique finish. He could have put it in so many different ways. I thought it was fantastic to see. To score such a nice goal in such a huge game. And I know it's only early in the season, but this will be one of those games that has influence on the season. While you're here, if you like anything to do with football, go down below and subscribe, and your club will win a trophy this season. Thanks. Now, does anyone else remember a while back when Roy Keane said this?
He's almost like a League 2 player. That's the way I look at him, is just general player.
And the whole world decided they wanted to hate him and go against him. But let's put it simply. What is he employed to do? Score goals. What does he do? Score goals. And a lot of them. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think there's a lot he can work on in terms of building up play and maybe getting involved deeper like Harry Kane does. At the end of the day, that's not what he's used for. That's not how they need him. They have their creative minds in Foden, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, just to name a few. What they need is him to be in the box ready, and he is fantastic at it. He's exceptional, and he is the best goal scorer in the world. I don't care what anyone says. I know there's comparisons between him and Mbappe. Haaland is the best goal scorer in the world. He is always there to attack the ball when they need him. I did make a YouTube short about this that seemed to flop. I genuinely think Erling Haaland will break Alan Shearer's Premier League goal record, dependent on 2 things. But before I get into those 2 things, make sure you subscribe. Number 1, can he avoid having a career-defining injury? And with the game schedules getting worse and worse each year, who knows? I mean, let's look at Rodri. Rodri literally a week ago said he was considering going on strike, and other players were considering going on strike, and a few days later he tore his ACL against Arsenal. The quality of the football is just going to keep getting lower and lower and lower, even at the top level, because there's so many games. The players are tired, they're fatigued, and I don't care what anyone says, oh, they're on 300 grand a week, It doesn't matter. If you want to watch the best level football, they need to be rested properly. A proper athlete needs recovery. They can't just play games every 2 days. I think they genuinely played a matter of hours after playing against Arsenal. They played Watford in the cup. It's it's unhealthy and the football quality is coming down. And number 2, whether or not he'll actually stay in the Premier League. I know that may sound stupid, but you never know with these crazy Saudi contracts. And as he ages, it might become more lucrative. Or if a European super team decides they want him. I was convinced Harry Kane was going to break the record until he decided to piss off to Germany. And that being said, it leads me on to something else. Now, I know this may pose as a crazy question. I want to know down in the comments, do you think Haaland could break Cristiano Ronaldo's Champions League goal record? Before all the Ronaldo fanboys come and hate me and be like, oh, he'll never be beaten, you've got a big nose and no one loves you. Anyway, hear me out. He's already at 41 goals in 40 games.
The math on that is it's one goal a game.
Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. But seriously, he's exactly 100 goals away from the record. Actually, no. Never mind, I doubt it. Obviously, you actually never know with this guy on the pitch because he can score 1 goal or he can score 5 like he did against Leipzig a few seasons ago. But the guy is actually a robot, and I think if there is anyone to break that record, it's going to be him. Again, it's whether he can stay fit, it's whether he stays in Europe. We'll see. For me personally, the Champions League record is a lot harder to break than the Premier League, and I know... Actually, that's probably not just me, that's probably everyone. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's a lot harder, but if he stays in that City team, who knows what he'll do. So I want to know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think, 1, he could break the Premier League record? 2, he could break the Champions League record? By the way, if you want to go and see how many football stadiums I can find in 12 hours, I'll leave a link at the top of the description so you can see that as well. Subscribe while you're down there, it would be much appreciated. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.